killed the market for, of course. So now this had killed the market for, of course.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen that are watching me today, 8th of July 2024. Today is a Monday, and I welcome everyone from that long weekend that started from Thursday evening up to actually up to today morning. By the way, some people enjoy weekend from Thursday evening up to Monday morning.
No sleeping.
So let me hope your weekend has been so nice. For those that have, of course, got some challenges due to the course of the weekend, sorry for that. And for those that, of course, gained some success, that achieved something out of the weekend, at the same time, I congratulate you. My name is INNOSSETU, together with my colleague Africa Maria, today, to take you, Jamaica, to take you through, of course, today's topic. For those that are watching us from different media platforms, that is Facebook, Twitter, and of course our official YouTube channel, and that's Black of Fire Network too. Keep subscribing. You're watching me for the first time, subscribe, like the page, that is Twitter, Facebook, like the page and follow. And if at all you like these pages, if at all you subscribe to this YouTube channel, whenever we come in here, there is that notification that is sent on your phone whenever there are shows that are, of course, that are pending. You're notified about these shows. So being a Monday today, like the previous days, our discussions normally rotate around Africa. Africanism within Africa and outside Africa. So today's topic is also a nice one, where we see that prayer and fasting can raise Africa. So, however much we pray, however much we fast,
What of course Africans are doing.
Yeah.
That's all what we do for us.
And praying, by the way, praying and fasting, we are so much into today's lives. When we look at Africans today, there is something pastors say, pastors, priests, and others, that you must pay pay that sacrifice. There is a sacrifice that you must pay for you to achieve something. But of course, we can't fast, we can't pray, and the instabilities in Congo end. We can't achieve that. There are some key players that are playing, what's going on in Congo to end. There are key players that are drafting the policies in African countries, of which they must amend or even suspend some of the policies that are not helping, of course, Africans, that are not applying to African communities, that are not of course applying to African society. So prayer. So that's how actually we came out with this topic today. Uh, to make everyone, of course, realize that prayer and fasting, they can't be our savior today. They can't be a solution to the problems that we are having today in Africa. They can't be a solution to the high taxes that we are having today in Africa. Which together, it is not that we are going to fast and pray, and the junta governments we are having in the western part of Africa to transit power to the civilian rule, or to stop collaborating with, of course, with foreigners that are exploiting those countries today. We don't need prayer for now. We don't need fasting. Prayer is always accompanied by fasting. You must pray, and of course sacrifice. You get that, you sacrifice, and the sacrifice you must put in, and that is fasting. Yes, bringing out the entire topic of fasting and prayer that can't raise Africa today, it is just actually it is something that we quoted, of which we mean religion. Religion today in Africa, it can't solve up of Africans. We have a lot of we have a lot of problems. We have a lot of problems that like what I wanted to say. Like so when we look at Congo, let's start with Congo. Actually, we are going to look at almost all African countries and the religions that dominate those countries, because the topic, however much we like, our quotation today is prayer and fasting. But different African countries, there are those dominant religions that are there. When we look at Congo today, Congo is a country uh, that is 75 or 76% a Catholic country. Okitegeera? So when we look at Congo's politics today, it is influenced so much by the Catholic Church. When you talk about the Catholic Church, this is, of course, a group of people. This is a religion. This is a religious group that works under Rome. Let me say that works under, because we know that Rome is the biggest part of the biggest place I can ever talk about when I relate to Catholic Church.
Yeah.
So the Catholic Church, this is when we look at all the principles, all the agendas, all the practices, all the teachings, whatever Catholics do, they preach about peace and unity. But I've never seen any religious group apart from these extremist groups, these militant groups that we see in Nigeria, the Boko Haram, the Al Qaeda, those religious groups, of which they are not fighting for peace.
Yeah.
They're not fighting for peace. They are either fighting for religion, or other things that are unknown. Ukitegera? But I've never and never seen any religious or of course group that comes out and fights for peace.
When it is peace, you don't fight, I think.
Hmm?
The moment you fight, it turns to violence.
That's why they don't fight.
No,
Because
no, no. I'm just,
within Africa, I've not actually. Let me specify this. Within East Africa, there is no country I know that is a Catholic based country like Congo. Even prior during those days, okimanyi wabeerangawo cardinal, but he used to base in Congo, naye nga wa East Africa cardinal during those days. So it means Congo holds the biggest part of the Catholics. So despite
the
of
biggest,
what
the biggest room structure, actually. And we all know why. Yeah.
but despite of what Congo is going through, I've not and I've never seen any any group, let it be a group of bishops, okay? Let it be a group of fathers, priests, or a group of religious leaders within Congo. Have you ever seen any to come out and talk about what's going on in Congo?
Some of them do. More especially those
Ogera ku
in
government,
Congo.
ogera ku
Yeah.
government, but they don't talk what's going on in Congo. Really, ukitegeera? Yet they might be having a bigger voice, ukitegeera, to push out there, ukitegeera, towards whatever that is going on in Congo.
Now, I'm sorry to cut you short. Do you know that if you are to follow the Roman Catholic system or law, as a priest, you're not allowed even to talk about politics. Actually, if you're found doing that, and I think these are the reasons, basically, these are the reasons why. These are the reasons why Rome does not allow the priests to talk about politics, to talk about leadership, to talk about. But remember, in Congo, it is again this very church that controls the entire political system, right? They control the election, the Catholic Church, they control the politics. But in actual sense, it is not allowed as priests or people of the Roman Catholic Church to, of course, participate in matters of politics. So they say each time, and I remember there was a certain time they arrested a priest and he was taken to Rome actually. Or I don't know, maybe he was taken to serve, whatever it is, because he was usually talking about a lot of things that Uganda was going through. But again, in the end, I know because they don't want to shoot their leg, their own toes. So they try so very much to avoid, like you're saying, they try so very much to avoid that. Burning up a Red Cross. To get them out, they're trying to be impartial. They're like journalists. So no, don't see journalists to being impartial. They're always sharing their mind all the time.
So, Jibi Jabba says, hi, hello, Jibi Jabba. Let me hope you're doing good today. It is a Monday. Jibi Jabba says that because it goes against the message of accepting your faith and suffering on earth and getting riches in heaven. So, fighting.
True.
Mhm. And actually, very many pastors they have made. Actually, for them, they are getting a lot of profits. Nadala, that Catholic Church, is having a lot of riches.
We have banks, we have centenary banks, we have banks actually. We have got the money that
Schools,
we have got Catholic schools, and actually they're one of the most expensive schools you
hospitals,
can talk about. They have expensive school hospitals,
and now
hospitals that Rome tries as much as possible to invest in, so that they can have this.
And these days, I'm seeing most of you they're now investing in hotels.
And yeah, we have hotel, we have Catholic hotels, and the funniest thing, I think the Catholic administration system sits and decides, like we have coping. Yeah, Catholic. Do you know that? We have what is known as coping. I don't know whether it's only, but I think it is it is coping may be a company that it's probably Africa wide. Coping has hotels, restaurants, guest houses, parking, whatever, and these are of course this is being run or it is founded by Catholics. The coping hotels. So you will see this at a coping hotel started long tea to kuzenga where which mine. Yeah, growing up, coping hotel has been here, and the most weirdest thing is that if at all we are to look at the school system, the education system, and the schools that are being under religion, they are one of the most expensive schools. Um, and these schools are schools that are built with the money of the poor people. But after you, because it is usually we are, of course, gathering or we are collecting money to build St. Peter's or St. Paul or St. whatever schools. Um, we are collecting money, we are fundraising, we are doing that work. And people be collecting money each time, every day, in every mass until that those schools are built. And when they are finished, the price, the school fees goes wild to the point that the biggest percentage of the people who contributed to a brick on that school cannot even afford to take their children there. And this is the funniest thing. Now, look at the money that goes to Rome. I'm so very excited that each time my mom wakes up to realize this thing. At times, we come from a Catholic family. My mom, one time, my mom always used to talk about tithe, and all that. People grew up with the religion. She also grew up in that foundation. And I was so very impressed. One time when I was talking to her, and I was like, we were like talking about the collecting the money and the tithe stuff, and she was like, I'm not collecting no money that is going to Rome. But before operated, I said, yeah, so mom is waking up to realize that. So she also started complaining and saying, one thing that hurts me most is like, why are these schools that will keep on building owned or it's only children of the rich that even go to that school? And at times it has even got nothing to do with religion. You'll even find Muslim rich children. You'll even find government children from the politicians going in these schools that the poor people have solicited money to build because they have that other foundation that of course is controlled to make sure that they meet other standards. So, and she was like, why? And then we construct the hospitals, we solicit money to build the hospitals, and at the end of the day you cannot even afford going there unless it is a small hospital, because we have got, in fact it is not like those others are like dispensaries. They're like what, but they are not like hospitals. Now if let's look at St. Peter's in Zambia, is one of the hospitals here. It's a Catholic school. It's one of the biggest hospitals here where apparently most of the rich people go to. It is a Catholic school. Sorry, hospital.
By the way, there is also another hospital, sorry, that is around our area there in the village. It is called Chito. It's also extremely expensive hospital. When I was still young, I remember why it was my brother, my elder brother, whom I follow, who was sick. Anyway, they took that guy to the hospital. When they took him to the hospital, for me, like I didn't know things about hospitals and how hospitals work stuff.
Yeah.
I thought, for me, I thought, for me, this is what I thought. You know, hospitals.
Yeah.
When you find a big hospital, when it is a real big hospital, they have dispensaries within.
Mm.
They have pharmacies
Mm.
within hospitals. So I
They
didn't
have
know.
boardrooms.
Yeah, so I didn't know that all those things like they're in a hospital, like stuff. Being a Catholic founded hospital, actually, most of the doctors in that hospital they are nuns.
Mm.
They are
And the
sisters.
priests.
Yeah, most of the doctors they are nuns in that hospital. So I was like, oh, you're so blessed to be in such a hospital. Yeah, but
Your brother.
I was like,
Joy.
in my heart, I was like, we are so blessed to be here. But Bakuba Mukade bill, like it was a big bill at the end of it. Secondly, there is something I saw which wasn't unfair to me at that age, something that wasn't unfair.
Mm.
After paying the bill and stuff, then they told my mom, they wrote for my mom staffs down to buy the
Mm.
medicines, the
Mm.
medication. They told her to buy within the hospital.
Mm.
They told her you can. They even
There's a
direct.
farmer.
They even directed her. The pharmacy it is for the hospital.
Mm.
Which I thought like Catholic founded things there for free.
No, it is
That's
okay.
what I
No,
thought.
it is okay for something to cost something because everything needs facilitation. If at all, but no, you see, if at all we are to conduct an organizational stuff, but the price should be fair. We cannot say that we want something because we will come when you need an expensive drug and you are like 20 people. And if we cannot manage that, definitely that it may collapse. All right, because it is not that every time in the church we shall be gathering money to pay all the bills and whatever, because there is no pharmaceutical that is going to give for free. But let the prices be understandable, be fair. Let someone say, first of all, for you to come, there is a fixed amount for certain kind of diseases. Let me assume it's malaria. Someone to say at least, okay, first of all, for you, probably you're going for malaria, we are going to cost like let me say 5,000, all right? Because first of all, 5,000 is the price of the drug everywhere. The malaria antimethac drug is 5,000. For adult dose. Now, let's say if adults are going to take now, this 5,000 is for those drugs. We have not even looked at the checkups, and these are the painkillers and all those things that follow. But there is where you see people cannot solicit money to a place, and then the expenses become even more expensive than private places.
It is the same thing I wanted to say. Whenever these schools, hospitals, let them be hotels, whenever those people are constructing something, they're also now investing in arcades.
Yeah, shopping markets.
Yeah, arcades. There is one in our place, Boyangogu. It is for the diocese, but it is the people that solicit for this money.
And when they go
They
to
even
rent
said,
the space,
they even said like, today we are going to be having evening masses, and those evening masses they are collecting masses. They collect money during those services, and
for a certain purpose.
for a certain purpose, and that is either they want to build a certain block on a school, they want to build a block in a hospital, or they are constructing an arcade or a hotel.
So for the entire system, it's not about helping the people, but still sucking them dry.
So after these things have been, after this man has been, of course, solicited from people, these funds have been good from the poor people. Most of the religious, staunch religious people in Africa, they are the poor.
The most poor people.
Most.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, they are the rich people that are also staunch.
They got no time. They
Yeah.
got no time.
But most of them, these are the poor people that think prayer and fasting can solve their problems.
There is a school, like, that school Samantha was going to. When I reached in that school, I don't know whether when I reached that school, uh, it was a good school. Like, you see the structures and everything, yeah. But it's like this school was being funded. It was being funded by well wishers. Let me say, like, people who would wish, the people who would say, now we are trying to fund Africa, and there was a certain group of people, Americans, Italians, it has different kind of people from different places, and usually they do come and pay visit. And this school, most of the teachers in this school actually, their salary comes from outside the country, and the leaders of this school actually priests. No, one is a priest, and the head is not. I think it's the one who got this connection. And then these other people from out, they had to put in a priest. And it is a Christian based school, it is a Catholic based school. When I went to at times you see and then you know what is going around the place. When I went to that school, of course, to visit Samantha, I realized that there are lots of children who were coming from our area. They are studying there, others were coming from the north. There was a lot of wars around the north. Only to realize that this school had a primary section in the north. So a lot of children who would graduate from junior, they would come to high school. Now, the school being high school, I guess, so if you did, anyone who did not know how the school ran, they were being charged expensively. You would find the school was charging you expensively. And those who had the ideas of how this school was funded, because it was for the purpose of the children attaining free education service, despite the proper infrastructure and everything that was designed by these people, the people who were taking care of this school, in fact, even on top of them getting their salary, I think they were even in million plus fees, they still started to charge. Because, of course, when you hear about that school, yes, I'm going to try and take someone to the other school. Now, they were charging these people, and the people who were funding this school did not know that almost 3/4 of the students in this school pay for tuition. For them, they thought all the students in the school don't pay for tuition. And now the majority of the students in this school actually were children who are coming from a poor background. Now, along the run, we started seeing children from extremely rich families joining the school and all that. So, what these people did, they would come during the visitation day. They come during the sponsors. They send a set of sponsors to come during the visitation day. Now, these guys would make the parents hide the cars. Because there are those parents who are extremely rich, they would come with extremely expensive cars. So they're like, you cannot bring your car inside. We have got the sponsors around. Why? Because the sponsor would say, if this person can afford this extremely expensive car, why are they here? So they started hiding their cars. You would pass, you see cars inside the trees, where stuff, And I think this is how actually a lot of people have lost many of these chances, because out there are a lot of people probably who are willing to help. So in along the line, and I think a lot of people started withdrawing from sponsoring, from the school, because they said there was a lot of matrix and confusion in this. You build some. Oh, Keith, you're welcome on our live.
You're welcome, but I'm here.
Huh? How have you been?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
We are
You're doing
fine.
great.
You are still in
What
your weekend.
What are you guys talking about?
Let Innocent to take you for a break.
I've been So
What happened?
we were trying to, of course, to discuss like prayer and fasting can't be an answer to the problems Africans are having today, despite of the desperateness that is within Africans. They go in for pastors, sheikhs, Allah, and stuff. So it is not the answer. So that's what we have been trying to elaborate about.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I was saying, and so you would look at and understand most of these things when we wake up. First of all, that the entire existence of religion should be the first sign to show you that religion is not here for you to be adamant about. Secondly, it is not here to help your poverty situation. Thirdly, it is not here to help your political problems. Because, like you have said, you have not seen these people talk about, you don't go to church and you hear words, let's pray for Congo. All right? People don't talk about that. That's bullshit. People don't really care. We have not seen people tackle the major issues, apart from probably you going in the penitentiary and you start talking to the priest. I mean, so whatever sin that you committed for you to repent and all that, we have not seen. Because actually, despite them saying that religion cannot mix with politics, and yet we are seeing the entire existence of Congo being controlled by the Roman Catholic Church, or the entire existence of Congo politics being controlled
Of
by the
course.
Roman Catholic Church. That means the church is more into politics than what it claims.
Church has always been the politics. The church is created for political reasons. The church has always been in politics. Now,
True.
religion is just a side hustle they tell morons. It's always about politics. That's what Christianity was created by Constantine. That's why the church owns most of the land in Africa. And
Mm.
so, church gets caught up in, what damn puppet they want in there, what puppet they don't. You see, during the Kenyan protest, you see all the churches told the Kenyans they couldn't come in. So now the biggest Catholic church in Kenya, in Nairobi, was taken over last Sunday. Kids just went in there and started saying, Nudo must go! Nudo must go! The kids, stop, we're doing our sermon. They fuck your sermon. Nudo must go! Nudo must go! Nudo must go! As the biggest
Yes.
church in Kenya. It's probably on YouTube or TikTok or somewhere. They filmed it. It's in the biggest church in Kenya. The youth took it over. Said, Rudo must go. Fuck your sermon.
So you can see, they decide, church usually, or religion usually tries to of course separate itself from politics, but it needs the entire perspective or the entire structure is actually political, like of course
Yep.
actually saying. And why does it try to separate itself from politics? All right. Why does it try to separate itself from
It doesn't.
politics?
Tries the illusion.
It
It's
is
an illusion that tries, but it doesn't. It's political. The whole damn
in
church
the in
and
the
Allah. It's all political.
in the presence of the people. It try. Julia says that Biden is going to different black church every Sunday to fall asleep. I'm telling you. So, you see, first of all, when people are looking for votes, The first places they go to are churches. And of course, as they come to church and the priest or the pastor or the imam in the mosque or whoever giving you that microphone is, of course, costly. You don't live without paying for that microphone or for you being given that pulpit for you to talk whatever it is that you want to talk is costly. If I tell you don't give like 3 million or something, you leave it there. And you should. So we have seen the things now. If at all people can go to church to campaign during Sunday services to talk to the people, why can't those people identify the issues that are affecting the people in the community and talk about them? But of course, we know their major role is to keep the people sleeping.
Exactly.
You have to sleep. They cannot
Yep.
waking up. You have to stay sleeping. We have had
Yep.
some kids who have gone a mile of preaching about issues that are actually affecting or the same things that we would love to hear for someone who is educative. And these people have ended up being taken to Rome because they claim they are defying. You cannot be preaching about religion every Sunday. Telling people about what this is not Christianity. This is not what at the end these people are taken to Rome. So I know very well there are a lot of people who want to say, but they try not to because of course, because of the laws that are governing their practice. So that means the major issue of this religion is to keep people sleeping. The moment you try to talk about issues that, of course, are happening and probably how you can go about them, they demote you, or you are taken to Rome, or you are moved from Africa to go to like the USA, to go to other non-African countries. And this we have seen. So apparently, everyone is a little bit afraid always about speaking the truth. We recently, I remember there was I don't know much about that. Really, Catholic barwana dina basi. Barwana wa Protestant. Yali waliwo ki? Yatandikibwa Abaloma. Tajjukira waliyo. Naye nga baani abazibeeramu ennyo Balooma? Kulinga oba Balooma. Balooma n'Abafulenki baalwana. Balomaniye. Mama muganda wavunyama. We have had religious wars that have actually existed in Africa for some time now. First of all, most of these people who cause instabilities, they know there are two things that can keep the wars going on, or there are two things that can keep the conflicts going on. There are two things that Africans are ready to die for, and that is religion. Because the moment you bring regional differences, religion cuts across borders in Africa. As we talk about, someone claiming I'm Maria and I'm a Ugandan, and there is somebody out there is a Kenyan and what. The moment, oh, you too, you are a Catholic. But we are related more than being African. Religion cuts across borders.
Crazy.
And this is the most ugliest thing for Africans to claim that they can only unite under the falsehood of brotherhood. Because I cannot unite with you being a Nigerian and probably feel like I really love you simply because we share the same doctrination, simply because we share the same religion. That should not be the best at which Africa bonds. That should not be the best at which Africa should unite. All right, because and this is unfortunate because we have seen actually we have even seen priests being sent from you told me one time you were in a school where you had a priest who was a South African. All right, he was from South Africa, he came to Uganda, and he was a priest and he was okay. And we have seen people from Zambia down here, priests from Zambia. We've seen Tanzanian priests. They keep them moving different places all over, and people rather unite as people under a certain religion than actually uniting under them being Africans. I have seen in different groups on social media whereby when you start talking about what Arabs did, and this is the truth, what the Arabs did at the coast and the interior of East Africa and East Africa at large, you will see that a lot of Muslims will come out, knowing that this is simply the truth, but because they believe Islam is part of the other set of people we are talking about, they started to argue stupidly. And someone said, we Muslims, we cannot be that harsh. There is no way we can castrate people. And you look at someone like, really, even your grandfather was castrated. But you're leaving that aside. But because this particular person is of the religion you believe in.
And actually, besides that, there are also conflicts that we see within Africa. I don't know what happens outside Africa. Keep will tell us about this situation. There are people you find, someone will tell you, I'm a Catholic that prays at INNOSSETU's church, and I'm a Catholic that prays at Maria's church. So the conflict starts from there. People from Maria's church are like this. People from INNOSSETU's church, people have conflicts based on where they brought from. Based on where. Yeah, based on where. So they create conflicts. They are Catholics. They are both Catholics or born against whatever Protestants, but still someone.
That means they believe in the other particular person who stands at the altar. There is nothing. There is no in between. There is no God in the middle. They only believe in that founder or that very person, and which is the truth, because apart from that particular person, there is nothing more to that. And leaving alone that, we have also had issues, conflicts that have gone for a very long time. Katingaba Boko Haram. They are Muslims in of course Nigeria, and for them they are up against the entire system of Nigeria. They believe Nigeria should be a Muslim country and all that. So you can understand. So we have got a lot. We have got wars that are being founded by the big societies of religion. We have got conflicts that are being founded by Rome. There are some rebel groups that are being founded by Rome in Congo. It is important. When you go to Rome, they will tell you it is one of the places, let me even call it an archive, that has got riches in the entire world. When you enter Rome, when you enter in their archives, you will realize that apparently everything there is made of gold. The Virgin Mary's picture, the Jesus' picture. Where does Rome get all that gold?
Africa.
Where do they get all that? The Holy Grail, and they tarnish all the whatever the original stories about that.
There is some stupidity Africans make. Someone leaves Africa to go and praise maybe a certain kind of artistic work that was stolen here from Africa. To praise it from Rome, to praise it wherever they go. Maybe, most of the people. And when you look at Africa, the entire Africa is divided into two. When you look at the whole north of Africa, is dominated by Muslims. It's dominated by Muslims. So if you're not a Muslim and you're in those areas, you struggling.
Mm.
They will be against you within those areas. Now, when you come to the sub-Saharan Africa, that's how you come to see a lot of religions in this area, and it is the area that is having a lot of confusion, a lot of wars, despite the sub-Saharan.
Yeah, because I think what causes a lot of these wars, if you look at the northern part, most of these people don't. Most of these people, enemies are ntono. Balinganga abooluganda.
Brother.
If you look at last time you were thinking, Tunisia is in the part of Africa. Tunisians don't call themselves African unless when it's World Cup.
All those places don't call themselves African, but those are all African empires. Korea. You understand? Tunisia is ancient Carthage, where the great African king was from, military leader General Hannibal. Those they got invaded. Those parts of Africa were invaded in the 7th, 8th century, where those European or white Muslims came in and took over those countries.
Mm.
Those are still African lands. Those are just invaders. And they don't call themselves Africans. You're correct. It's like if you look at Morocco today, right? Look at Morocco today. The capital city of Morocco was Marrakesh. Marrakesh was founded by the Africans. That was the African. That was the capital of the African Moorish kingdom, coming out of Senegal. And that was just goddamn 1,000 years ago. No, not even 1,000 years, maybe about 600-700 years ago. Marrakesh. Let me see. Say this one, Micheto. Say let me try to word it correctly. Say the Senegalese tribe that created Marrakesh. They were called the Almoravans or whatever they call themselves. I just call it the Senegalese tribe that created Marrakesh, Morocco.
Try to create?
That created Marrakesh, Morocco. Marrakesh. It's a city in Morocco. I don't know how to spell that shit. Marrakesh. That used to be the capital of Morocco. I don't know if it's still the capital now. What's the capital of Morocco now? That used to be the capital. I don't know how to spell Marrakesh, Seto.
They're giving me other stuffs. They're saying they're telling me the history between Morocco and Senegal, the relationship they have, the historical relationship.
There's a relationship that the Senegalese created Morocco. The black, the African, controlled it, ruled it, created their empire there, coming out of Senegal. And they made Marrakesh was the capital. So those people you see today are new. They're not the original people in no fucking Morocco. The African is. So I'm just giving you the last African empire that was there. It came out of Senegal. The Africans that came out of Senegal created the last African empire there. They overthrew the other Africans. They created Marrakesh was their capital. And they were called the Almovids, something, some shit, damn. But they controlled Algeria, Morocco, Spain, all the way down into damn Senegal. That was like 700 years ago. America. Let me see. What's the name of the damn? You say okay, do this. So we can say what was the name? Say what was the name of the Moors? Moors coming out of Senegal.
What was what?
Say, what was the name of the Moors, Moors, coming out of Senegal?
Oh, I can't out of Senegal.
Moors.
I'm not to Senegal.
So what was the name of the Moors coming out of Senegal?
This thing is giving me different things.
Yeah, what's the name of the Moors? Ready?
Let me see. Those are the ones that created Marrakesh up in Morocco. Africans who controlled Algeria. What you
There's the Naga.
You got the name.
The
What they
Naga
called?
tribe. Yeah.
Zenaga
What was
tribe.
the name of the tribe?
Yeah.
Sanhaja or Sanhaja.
Oh, Senegal.
There's the Naga tribe or Sanhaja.
But those are the ones. Those are the ones that end up going to Morocco again and taking it over. Those are your last African rulers. Oh, I lost it. That was me. It's not there. Damn, it's dark as shit out here. God damn. Out here in fucking West Texas, it's dark as shit over here. That damn hurricane. I gotta get up the interstate. Great. What was the name of the Moorish tribe coming out of Senegal with a Spain? Oh, I got no connection. Dang. Who's that?
Jib Jabba from YouTube says that all roads lead to Rome, the roads to corruption.
True. True. True.
What was the name of the Senegalese tribe, Senegalese Moorish tribe that ruled Spain?
The name is, they have given us a tribe of the Moors.
Yeah, it was Al. Yeah, not Al Andalus. I know his name was Al Andalus back then. What was the name of the Moorish tribe?
They are called the Zenaga or Sanhaja. The Zenaga or Sanhaja people.
Yeah, but they changed the name to an Arab name. I mean, a Muslim name. The Al Movids or some shit. The Moabites or the Movids or something. Let me hold on. Give me a second.
I'm seeing Baba.
What was the name of the Senegalese Moors that went into Spain?
To Spain? That went to Spain.
The Moriscos. It was Seville. The Moriscos. The Moabites. Okay, they were called the Moabites and the Moriscos. Came in and took back over Seville. They made Seville and then also Marrakesh. Marrakesh, the empire. Let me see Marrakesh. Marrakesh. Let's see. When were the years the Moors ruled Marrakesh, Morocco?
When were the years the Moors ruled America?
Okay, that's how you spell Marrakesh. Marrakesh is Marrakech. Marrakesh. In 1224, they ruled it. They spelled from Sicily Yeah, so they got thrown out of Sicily to settlement, and yeah, that's when they would lose. They were starting to lose Europe. They were expelled from Sicily. Marrakesh was the last time the Africans ruled that northern part of Africa. They came out of Senegal, and then eventually the white Arab got it. But those people up there were invaded. At that time, Algeria, Spain, Morocco, all the way down to Senegal was controlled by these African who came out of the Senegal. You guys looking at?
This was, but I'm only seeing that this rule lasted until 9091, when the Normans under Roger I completed their conquest of the island.
Island? What island? What are you talking about? Island?
I don't know.
You guys looking at what? Yeah. The Moors just means a term for black guys, African. The different Moors. Moors just means it's just a derivative term or a generic term for African. There were many different tribes considered as Moors. White people just call black people Moors. That's just a term for being African. That's not like a one specific people. The Moors make up many different tribal people. That's just what the Europeans called, the Greeks and the Romans called black people Moors.
Mazara.
Yeah, it was like a Pacific people, guys. That's just what they called African people, Moors. So it can be made up of this tribe, that tribe, this tribe, bunch of tribes. Say it again.
Let me read for you. I don't know whether this is it. They're saying the Moors originally from present-day Morocco ruled in Europe, primarily Spain and Portugal, for nearly 700 years.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, those are the blacks. But that was the first Moorish empire. The second one comes out of Senegal because they fell.
They said that their influence extended to European culture, and it's fascinating to note that the Moors were actually Europeans of African descendants.
What? African? The Moors were European. That what you read?
This is what Google is giving us.
That's a lie. Yeah. No goddamn. Whoa, they changed this. Moors were no fucking goddamn Europeans.
African descendants.
Nah, they're Europeans of African descent. You out your fucking mind?
It's what they are saying. So
they're Europeans of African descent. More means black. How they gonna be white people if Europeans? More means black.
They still don't want to accept that the blacks controlled or
yeah, but everybody knows they do. See, your Google is different because you're African. They tell you guys lies. The Moors are Africans. Let me send you a video real quick. See if I can find this video real quick. Moors are Africans.
Apparently.
Yeah, they want you guys are, but this is known. But the Moors are white, a European African. The fuck is a European African?
That's Europeans of African descent. It doesn't make sense.
I think I'm a European of African descent. How crazy is cat shit? That's absolutely crazy. Especially we got images of Moors. Okay.
Maggiaggio passa questo. Non so quello che c'è. Sicuro c'è una foto di Agano, io per moglie. Ce l'ho che c'è una c'è.
I want you guys to check out the picture I just sent you to your phone. Now tell me, does that man I just sent you look like a European?
All right.
That like a white man to you? That's in the book called the Moors of Spain. Does that look like a white? Does that look like a European to you?
But they were Europeans of African descent. That
Look like a European to you, Joe? I mean, Maria?
Sir?
Does that look like a European I sent you? You're on mute. I can't hear you.
It's loading. It's loading. We are going to watch it.
No, not what? You don't have to load it. It's just a picture. I didn't send you a video. I sent you a picture. Shouldn't have to load. I just sent you a picture. It shouldn't have to load.
Auntie now give man the corporation.
I can see you a bunch of pictures. Shouldn't have to load it.
Uchirabi. Uchirabi.
That's how wicked these European goddamn Africans of European descent. How crazy as cat shit. And they were overthrown. Those Africans were overthrown by some other Africans. Those Africans first ruled, then some other Africans coming from Senegal overthrew them. These are not no fucking Europeans. These are Africans.
They are not. They are definitely. They have not even any appearance. They look so African with everything in them. That's why they are calling them European.
Yeah, it's done crazy.
The story of the Moors in Spain. Okay, this is the picture that Keith loves a lot. Yeah, okay. Stanley Lynn, Poly Africa. The Moors
Yeah,
were
he's an African.
the people.
That's African. That's like a damn European to you.
Mm. More Europeans of Africanism. I don't know why I mentioned that thing. Each time there's these guys, there's a way they
Because they keep lying. Because they want to keep.
truth.
They want to keep.
So
They
apparently
lying about your history.
European of African. Which European is of African descent? Doesn't make sense.
Because those are the people that civilized Europe. They don't want you to know it was the African who taught the European how to wash his ass, how to brush his teeth, how to goddamn put schools into Europe. There were no schools in Europe. The European was illiterate, backward, stupid. It was the African Moors who went and built schools up there. That's what they don't want you to know. That's why Google tell you European African. Like what? What are you talking about? Sound crazy as cat shit. My Google don't even say that. That's how you know even the algorithm is different. Even the algorithm is different in Africa. I don't say no European. Even your algorithm is different. I don't even say none of that shit on mine. Yours, even Africa's algorithm is different. They don't want them to know you Africans of European descent. What the fuck are you talking about? Sound crazy as cat shit.
Sure.
Say, you can tell me about Leopold, but you can't tell me shit about the Moors, your own history. That's how bad Africa is. You can tell me shit about some fucking Leopold. Ask you about the Moors. Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Those your ancestors, moron. Who's that?
Dana.
Goddamn white people, black people, Africans of fucking European descent. Sound crazy as cat shit. So that last city, those Africans went in and controlled Spain. They started losing power. The white man started having getting free of Moorish rule, and so the Senegalese came out of Senegal and reconquered all that area. Went back and took Spain. Went back and took Algeria and Morocco again for the Africans. And you know why they lying? Do this real quick. You hear me, Seto? You guys on mute. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, do this. There's a certain festival that they do in Spain. Happy they got rid of the Moors. Say images. Do this for me, Seto. Images of Spanish. Images of the Spanish festival. Images of the Spanish festival.
Spanish festival.
Mocking the Moors. Or just say this is images of Spanish festival of white people in blackface. That was them showing the Moors when they finally got them, when they finally conquered the Moors, got them out of Europe. And so they did this festival every year. So they know they were black. They wasn't no Europeans. They dress up in blackface. Say the festival of Spanish and blackface. And you'll see them dressed up like black people playing, revisiting when they conquered the Africans 700 years ago. They celebrated I forgot the name of the festival. They celebrate every year. Yeah, we finally got these niggas out of here. Now we're going to go into Africa and conquer all these niggas. Oh, lost. Yep, that's it right there. Yep, that's it. So do you think the Moors were white now? That's the festival they do every year. Them in that black face. They do that as a celebration of finally defeating the Africans. So they know there wasn't no Europeans that came in on fucking Europe from Africa. They know there were Africans who came into Europe. That's why they put on black face every year and celebrate them defeating the African.
Why they're wearing those ready cape even about that. The ready hat thing.
That's why they dress up in blackface every year.
Mm-hmm.
It's when they finally defeated the African. You don't dress up like that, Maria, if you were being conquered by other white people, by Europeans. Africans or European descent. Sound crazy as cat shit.
Nze ndowooza eri wiiki twetaaga ku openinga bintu bingi at the same time. Nze bwe ndowooza.
The Africans have red lips. That is big.
Babeesize ki? Akakireka abasooka kolomezinga abantu ne balyoka batujjira nga batuwa kaliventi.
Sekundi eri netiwaka eri siro. Netiwaka eganya kuleeta n'ekifaananyi netiwaka eri siro. Simanyi, there is something not right going on when a computer.
There was a network, not similar about them. So what you said, right? Network.
It's no.
No, but talk about music. Never about music. What about me going to school? Okuva we baatandise oba balinako ekikyamu ku bwongo.
Lifestyle president right now.
Nze ate ebiseera ebimu nze nkubuulira abantu babeerako maalo. Nze nina omuntu gwe nali manyi.
Sound is INNOSSETU. I can hear key. Wow. I felt really awful.
Well,
Our network is
A bit
it's a bit
disturbing.
disturbing. I don't know if it's on and off, it's jumping. Ngaggalawo ne bugenda ne bugula amadirisa gonna. Abalekane kakugenze.
I don't know that. I never studied that. I think he was replying to his of course, submissions about the festivals, Black festivals, the Spanish festivals of white people and black face.
Kwisalinga omuzimu. Kiraga batuvuma. Kuba for them when they are turned black biba bintu birala. Despite all outcry, Christmas Blackface Parade celebration, Spain. Somehow, I don't recognize how to probably get
Now I be running.
of the bulls from Bologna. That running of, I also wonder about that bull, that chasing what. Oba abantu baba bati at times even the bull, horns them.
Mm.
And I know at times I think that there are even death results from that weird kind of. Is that never? I cannot even involve myself in that. So, but
The song was always Friday.
they have nothing to do. Kati bayitamanya cheese biki.
Mm.
They throw their cheese and they chase each other to get that cheese. Mubangula n'ebikopo. They throw it on a very slopey area.
Mm.
Nga it is nga ina rough bumpy whatever surface. Nga balabika okudduka.
Mm.
Nga they are chasing the cheese. Nabyo byakola.
So it is on the same point where I want to ask you, where did those African heroes go that once colonized in other parts of Europe? Where did they go? Why is it that if at all we have ever, of course, ruled Europeans? Why is it that today nowadays don't we have descendants of such people that we have failed even to rule ourselves, that we depend on someone's ideas in whatever thing that we do here in Africa? Which is Rora.
Mama yaitizirola Maria. That's in a game. Like I shall be chasing cheese. Nice. Yeah. That's people just lack a lot of people. They don't know how to do very many things. Kind of go water cheese. Go do kakusu. The things they are doing, these are things we do when we are kids. Now for them, they are doing them as adults. Even if we are not chasing cheese, but that spot is usually we call it gogoro. We call it gogoro here, and for us, we are not always chasing cheese. It is either you are running after an animal stuff. These are things people do when they are kids, and I can't. And these people are doing when they are adults. How weird! And they even win prizes. But anyway, mm, what was the key? I guess I do almost of the matter.
Yeah,
That's Muzungu. And we got that gogoro here. And it is this is where children play, young kids around be playing in those slopey areas. I wondered when I saw grown-ups really participating in this, and I was like, yeah,
they carry your
but like they carry your wife race.
ekyo takula so n'ebibumbe byennyini ebibumbe bikunyumira
Dara, Dara, Dara. Obadde obuuza bubuuzo ki oba mubuuza kiiti taliiko
embuuza
obadde obuuza kiiti you asked kiiti mbu abantu baalagawa it was that question for Keith. Me? Am I called Keith? That was not me. But one thing I know is that when the Africans were ruling most of these places, the major things they did were to develop the places where they were at. They introduced business, they developed the places, they constructed. They even introduced new systems in those places. So we did not see a lot of exploitation like the ones we are seeing now. All right, where Africans lived, they left a positive footprint that until now is being carried on. They left positive footprints in different places. Now that was the difference between Africa ruling other people. They were never barbaric towards other people. They were never harsh like we see other people being towards Africa. And the reason, and this question you are asking me, Keith, all right, about like where did these people go at? Then they have descendants and so on and so forth. Of course, we know that it is very hard, for example, for you to find such kind of information unless you dig, and the information is there. And not every African knows that we had Africans who ruled other places outside Africa. Now, when we checked on Google, it told us they were Europeans.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let me send you this. I want you guys to share this real quick. Okay? I'm gonna send I'm gonna send it to Maria. I want you guys to share this video. Here you
Um,
go.
but
Okay, you got it now, Maria. I sent it to you. I want you to share that one. Where the white man tells the truth. Tells you these are Africans that when Google just lied to you, I'm letting a white man tell this. But this is known history. They still try sad fact they still try to lie to Africans is crazy about who they are and what they did. Is crazy to me. Yeah, but share that video I just sent you. The Blackamoor. Exactly. Called the Blackamoor. Yeah, so here's some black people there. I'm a, I'm a, I'm gonna send both of them to you because he's gonna show you, like I told you, the second group came out of the synagogue who conquered the other Africans.
So that by the year 710, they were over here at the Straits of Gibraltar. That was only, let's see, about 60 years after the death of Muhammad. It took them only 60 years to conquer the entire Middle East and get over to this point right here. This puts us at the year 710 AD. Now, in the year 710 AD, a fellow by this name, stand up a little better, Tariq ibn Ziyad, means Tariq, the son of Ziyad. Tariq was, I believe, a Moroccan. This is Morocco over here. In other words, he was a Moor, a man from Morocco. This whole North African empire, Islamic empire, came to be called the Moors, or in Shakespeare, the Blackamoors. Sounds like we had some black people there, huh? Tariq took the armies of Islam across the Straits of Gibraltar and landed on the Rock in the year 710 AD. You'll never guess what he did next. He burned the boats. He made up his mind that if his armies of Islam could not conquer Spain, they weren't going home. So he burned the damn boats, and that left them facing one way, which was straight forward. And in the year 710, they swept across the Iberian Peninsula, and they took the land that we now call Spain for Islam for just about 800 years, until precisely the year 1492, the year Columbus sailed for America. For almost 800 years, Spain was a Muslim country. The army stopped at the Pyrenees Mountains because they couldn't beat the French. In honor of his conquest, they called what is now called the Rock of Gibraltar Jabal al-Tariq, which means the Mountain of Tariq. And the British, in their inimitable way, turned Jabal al-Tariq into Gibraltar. We now had an African Muslim empire which stretched from the Pyrenees Mountains, encompassing all of Spain, Morocco, and the whole north coast of Africa, right up to Egypt, and the area south into the Sahara Desert, as far as any man cared to stake a claim. This northern African empire, which was eventually headquartered in Spain, went under three names, and here they are. All the same empire, really, but three different names. From 710, the year that the Muslims moved into Spain, up until about the time of the Crusades, this was called the Umayyad Empire. And it wasn't just North Africa, because at that time, up until the Crusades, Islam had a world government. It was one empire, ruled from Damascus, and it was called the Umayyad Empire. But around the time of the Crusades, the Umayyad Empire fell apart into smaller empires. And the empire encompassing Spain and North Africa at that point was called the Almoravid Empire. The Almohad Empire.
Almohad, that's what they call it. Almohad was the guys coming out of synagogue, exactly. It was the Almohad tribe that came out of synagogue later on that conquered all of it again. Because they said the other Africans were getting soft and letting the cracker take control. They said, you better get these crackers back in line. And so the Senegalese African went there and conquered the rest of it. Go ahead, guys.
All had come from names of tribes, but it was all basically the same region. This area, from Spain, North Africa, all the way to Egypt, and well into the Sahara Desert, an area just about the size of Western Europe. Now, around the time of the Crusades, Islam made its way across the Sahara Desert into this fertile sub-Saharan region, and a second Islamic empire arose down here. This empire also went under different names.
Mali,
the names Originally, it was called Ghana, but not the Ghana of today. A huge mass of land, which we'll
It was a
show you
Hebrew.
in a minute.
It's a
Later, it came
Hebrew
to be called the Kingdom of Mali.
empire.
And finally, at around the time of Columbus, it was called the Kingdom of Songhai. Songhai being the name of an African tribe which conquered the territory. 3 different names, but all really the same kingdom. A kingdom comprising the area from Senegal over here, all the way across the fertile sub-Saharan region to Chad,
Yeah.
and well into the Sahara Desert. Again, an area almost the size of Western Europe. Now, I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but I'm pointing now to a river. This river flows from the mountains coming originally from Senegal, first east and then south. It's called the Niger River. And along the shores of the Niger River arose a civilization which eventually became the center of civilization in the Western world.
Exactly. The
Its
center.
headquarters was here.
Timbuktu.
This is a city called Timbuktu. To those of you who are not familiar with this history, it might sound a little like a joke. Timbuktu. Timbuktu, at the time that Columbus sailed for America, was the center of Western civilization. Right here in the heart of Africa, on the shores of the Niger River. In other words, this was a city of niggers, some people would like to call them. But they outdid Whitey. Europe at this time was a mess. There was no real civilization to speak of.
Exactly.
Renaissance
Nothing
was
there.
just starting at the time that Timbuktu, down in the heart of so-called darkest Africa, was the center of world civilization. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? Not only is it possible, it was true. And if you don't believe it, look it up in any encyclopedia. Historians straight enough get away with this. It's cult facts of history. Involves would just as soon not think about it. Now, before proceeding, I want to show you a few books. This book is called From Babylon to Timbuktu, written by Rudolph Windsor. I've spoken to Rudolph Windsor a few times. He's a great writer, and he takes the history of the sub-Saharan black empires as well as the northern Saharan black empires and makes them very readable. All the information in this book can be verified in any encyclopedia, but it's more interesting to read it here. Because Mr. Windsor is a sponsor of this show, we're going to be giving the address of his publishing company at the end. You can also obtain this book in many black bookstores or street stalls which cater to black books, although you won't necessarily be able to find this in Barnes & Noble. Great book. Here's another book which is a big source of information for me. It's called World's Great Men of Color. And this is a book you shouldn't have too much trouble finding in a library or elsewhere. It was written by J.A. Rogers, one of the great black writers of the early 20th century. Finally, here's a book that I'd love to be able to talk about, but I doubt there'll be time. It's called The Sign and the Seal by Graham Hancock. It was a bestseller for its genre not too long ago. It tells the story of the Ark of the Covenant. And if you're like me, by the time you finish this book, you're going to believe, as the author believes, that the Ark of the Covenant is in Ethiopia, where it's been for thousands of years. That is, God, if Mr. Hancock is correct, gave the Ark of the Covenant to niggers. Think about that. Of course, a lot of people don't believe that. I'm not 100% sure it's true myself, but I'm about 90% convinced. In any event, I don't think we're going to have time to talk about the Ark today. Let's talk about Spain during the Middle Ages. I want to read something to you. I want to read you a little passage about Moorish Spain as Europe's cultural center.
Play part 3, Maria. I sent you part 3. Play part 3. I sent it to your phone.
The what?
Play part 3. The next one. I sent it to your phone. It's going to tell you when the Africans ruled Europe, it was also the center of Europe because they brought what? Education, information, medical. Everything was brought by the African to Europe. As he told you, they had no civilization. So when they tell you they brought you civilization, you're like, what? That's a lie. These people were eating their own shit out their asshole. Somebody eating their own doo-doo don't goddamn teach you some civilization. They eat their own shit. Get out of here. And that's what they were literally doing. You ain't never tried to eat your own shit, have you, Seto? I hope not.
Box.
Yeah, let's get up.
One month is that 2, 3 of 4.
Part three of three. I sent it. You ain't watched number 2.
Sorry?
It's part 3. I sent it to Maria's phone.
Yeah.
It's zero.
Yeah. Yeah, from Sadia Kutenemi Papori.
He's just letting you know. He's just letting you know that he just contradicted. He's letting you know these are African people, not Europeans of African descent. These are Africans. He just telling you the truth. These are black people that they call niggas.
I don't believe them in the chicken, no?
Let's get up.
I do have a dairy but they're from
It's white. Load it. I got it. I get it. I get it.
They don't want you to know you educated them about white European Africans. What the fuck is that? No such thing.
The white Christians of Spain deeply desired during this period to expel the blackamoors from their country. It is nevertheless an undisputed historical fact that medieval Spain was the cultural, educational, and scientific center of Europe.
That cultural, educational center of Europe.
With elaborately carved walls and beautiful mosaic floors, while European kings lived in cold, damp castles of unfinished stone, crude by comparison. The streets of Spain's capital city, Cordova, were well paved and completely illuminated by public lights, at a time when the streets of London were dark and covered with mud. The Moors possessed all the knowledge of ancient Greece, which was lost to Europe until the Renaissance. They made important contributions to philosophy, medicine, mathematics, chemistry, astronomy, and botany. Doesn't sound like such a dark age after all, does it? There were academies for the rich, free schools for the poor, and libraries containing books from all over the world. The Jews of medieval Spain got along famously with the Muslims, and for them, the sojourn in that nation is remembered as being the second most glorious period in their history, exceeded only by the glory of the reigns of David and Solomon in ancient Israel. Medieval Spain was the time and place of Maimonides and many of the other great Old Testament scholars, whose works constitute the foundations of modern Jewish thought. Throughout the Middle Ages, the white Christians of Spain endeavored to thrust out the Moors. It took them until 1492 to do that. When Isabella and Ferdinand finally defeated the last Moorish king in Granada, in the same year that they financed Columbus's trip to America, they immediately expelled all Jews who refused to accept Christianity. This is not at all surprising. Since the Jews had actively supported the Moorish conquests, the Christians were not about to take any chances on losing what had taken them 800 years to regain. The day the last Moors and Jews were expelled from Spain was counted as a great day in Spanish history. But was it? It's true that Spain, largely through the strength of its navy, had achieved the status of a world power. But in less than a century, the Spanish Armada was defeated by England, and the nation went into a great decline. Now we're going to ask a very important question. During the Middle Ages, were Spain's Muslim rulers really black? It's almost inevitable that white people who have never been taught black history will ask this question. Were they really black? After all, Moors are kind of Arabic. They're not really Negro, are they? And the answer to the question is that there was more than one race involved. Again, as I told you before, in the beginning, there was the Umayyad dynasty, and they were mainly Arabic, although there were some blacks there. But by about the time of the Crusades, the Umayyad dynasty became soft and complacent, and the forces of Christianity were rising up in Spain and threatening to overthrow Islam. A second dynasty of kings arose called the Almoravids. They came out of Senegal, which is right in the middle of Africa. That's about as black as you can get. They conquered Spain, and they were the rulers from then until the end. Centuries. There's no question that Spain was ruled by blacks, at least during the latter part of the Middle Ages. The third dynasty, the Almohads,
all of it.
Mixed dynasty.
All of it. No, I wouldn't have mixed. Get a few white Arabs, but the whole dynasty was all African. The Africans ruled it. The Africans created all the shit there. It was the African empire.
The kings was a fellow who they called Al-Mansur, which means the invincible. His actual name was Yaqub ibn Yusuf, which means Jacob, son of Joseph. Almost like a Jewish name. Al-Mansur arose at a time when the Christian forces were really rearing up and threatening to expel Islam. The Christians put together a huge army of 300,000 men at a place called Alarcos. Al-Mansur called together all the forces of Islam from all across North Africa, all the way to Egypt, and put together an army which beat the Christians at Al-Alarcos in one of the greatest battles in history. Now, Al-Mansur was the son of a man who was described as being of mixed race, but his mother was a full-blooded Negro slave from Senegal or Timbuktu. That makes Al-Mansur at least 75% Negro. And that's about as colored as any black man walking the streets of America today. So the answer to the question is yes, Spain was ruled by blacks during the period when it was indisputably the cultural, scientific, and educational center of Europe, believe it or not. Now, the slightly out of focus map on the left-hand side of your screen shows the approximate boundaries of the medieval Great Black Sub-Saharan Kingdom, known variously as Ghana, and then Mali, and later Songhai, all the same kingdom, a rather large kingdom. The yellow color shows the modern nation of Mali, which is, of course, much smaller. And right in the midst of it is a large black arrow showing the location of Timbuktu, the greatest city of that nation. I'd like to read you something about Timbuktu. This kingdom was originally called the Kingdom of Ghana. From about 300 AD up to the time of the Crusades, Ghana was a Jewish nation. This has been documented by the writings of one Eldad the Danite, whose works constitute the main historical source of information for this time or place. So this was a Jewish kingdom. Did you know that there were Jewish kingdoms in Africa? After North Africa was converted to Islam, an immensely lucrative trade developed between Ghana and the Islamic states to the north. In other words, the empire that was centered in Spain, which we talked about. At first, the Ghanans traded gold, then iron, which was used to make weapons. Eventually, they traded grain, which proved to be the most lucrative of all. Shortly after the year 1000 AD, the kings of Ghana converted to Islam. Subsequently, the city of Timbuktu became the center of trade for the entire world, not just Africa. At that time in history, movement of goods across Europe from land was out of the question, because Europe was a collection of warring barbarian states. So all goods from the East, and that means all goods period, because there weren't nothing being made in the West at that time, all goods from the East were brought to Egypt, where they were loaded onto caravans. The caravan routes all converged at Timbuktu, which, by the 15th century, had become one of the wealthiest cities in the world. From Timbuktu, the goods were transported 1,000 miles to the Atlantic coast, from where they were loaded onto ships bound for Europe. In the 14th century, the University of Sankore was founded at Timbuktu, and this city began to become one of the world's leading centers of academic learning. Ghana, which by then was known as Songhay, came to be known as the Mecca of the Sudan. By the year 1500, this empire in the heart of so-called darkest Africa had become the center of the Islamic world, at a time when the Renaissance in Europe had barely begun. The students of Timbuktu were sent out to the great Muslim universities of Spain, North Africa, and Asia, and the learned men of all races and nationalities were paid handsomely to come into Timbuktu to teach. The commodity which came to be the most profitable object of trade in Timbuktu was not gold or silver or grain, but books. It has been written that there were more books in the library of the University of Sankore than in all the libraries of Europe combined. It is also said that the entire body of male free citizens was literate. Leadership and authority were in hands of the learned scholars of the city. There was a legendary 14th century Muslim traveler named Ibn Battuta. He's kind of like the Marco Polo of the Arab world. And this is what Ibn Battuta had to say about Timbuktu, and I quote, "The inhabitants had a greater abhorrence of injustice than any other people. Neither the man who travels nor he who stays at home has anything to fear from robbers or men of violence." The driving force behind these developments was God and nothing else. Timbuktu arose as a Jewish empire and blossomed under the banners of Islam. There's no question about what the source of greatness was, not black skin color, but God. So maybe you're starting to understand what I mean when I say whoever you thought you were, you're a Jew. We're out of time now. Please tune in next week when we're going to talk about the relationship between God and enlightenment. Are there two different ultimate realities, or are these two the same? Or maybe they're both wrong. If you want to know the answer to the question, tune in next week and find out. Thank you, and goodbye.
If you're a business owner, then animated explainer videos are the best way to capture attention, get more followers, and drive more sales. They're engaging to watch.
All right, welcome back to the Cloud Church. I'm Robert Breaker, missionary evangelist to Spanish and English-speaking people. And I just wanted to make a brief Bible study video here for you because a lot of people have been emailing, and some people have called, and I believe some people even sent a letter and said, we'd really like to have a Bible study on
Wafanyaje wakasi?
Issues like the issues, of course, I'm learning about. I didn't know about, by the way. Mm, the issues that I'm learning, I'm just learning about.
Mm.
And the issues you can't tell someone and understand. Together,
Mm.
there is no way, like if it is not Blackout Fire Network, let me say, there is no way you're going to convince,
Mm.
or there is no way I'm going to I can convince my friends about what I've just heard from the previous video, and they accept that it's true. And the reason is our brains were fed with lies. We believe so much in lies. We defend lies that we have in our heads.
Mm.
We defend the lies that we have in our heads. You can't convince someone about the truth. If you speak about the truth, the first thing they will say that you have little knowledge about something, because they have books, huge books of lies they have read. What they will say, you have little knowledge about what you're saying. You don't understand what you're talking about.
Mm.
So
This is why I say the awakening is not for everybody.
mhm,
Not for everybody, by the way, because there are even a lot of people who have had more or experienced more than what we learn today, but they have never accepted it or taken it serious. Like I always, there is something I usually, believe in. Um, we all have some powers behind us, and at times there are reasons why we take knowledge the way it is, and that's why some of us are so thirsty for knowledge, and that's why some of us are conscious, try so very much to get ourselves to understand different things and why they are the way they are. And a lot of people are actually living in an environment where they should be able to understand, but they don't. You know. So, like I always say, that there is no. We have had. I don't even know whether I should say some people are just like their caste or their forefathers committed some crimes that nature is up against their children or stuff, that they don't really, they're not blessed with that understanding. It takes someone to, it takes, people always talk about smart people, but also it takes another level of someone's being to be able to understand something and to learn from something and understand it. Like you're saying, and by the way, from information, people, a lot of people get different concepts. People understand things differently. Like we see a lot of recently when I saw okay, maybe I don't know whether it is me who is weird. You always say maybe it is me who is weird.
right.
But there are times when I see people and I'm like, why are you like that? No, mentally, like, why does this person really think like that? And they're so very comfortable. Um, and they are very comfortable about this. Um, I see, you see, um, each time, I don't know whether it is the competition that the world has put us at, I don't know whether it is the desperation for money that everyone at least tries to make sure you rather create something very opposing from the truth than you following the truth and being on the same line. Now, if I come here and speak of something, instead of usually when we are having dry say things, he tries to connect to some other videos where at least he has watched and learned some ideas, or he has watched and believed. And so you see, yeah, he came across this, he has seen this, and usually he shares, yeah, Maria, there is this, check this out, look at what this one is saying. And at sometimes other people are not like that. They don't want to accept it. But they don't want to accept that. I think everyone wants to be out there and bring their whatever knowledge they think they have, not to, of course, not responding to other people's, or not corresponding to other people's. And I've seen a lot of stories about the ancient Egypt, and the stories that were written in the pyramid and on the rocks, and other people who claim even there were no whites around that place, black people around, and someone will even convince you that even the language there is not, and someone just comes in. It was so very I wish I would check on my Facebook. So there is this, and I know you guys might have. There is this let me call him Black American because he hates being called African American man. The Black American man who went ahead and said, Americans, for us the black. I don't know how confused his mind is. I'm sorry. That's why I said I don't know. Maybe it is me who gives things. Forget that one. That one is also another crazy person I've ever seen. The other one said, we the black Americans in America, we existed in Egypt. I looked at that dude. I was like, bro, I mean, we existed in Egypt, and I don't know that he's Hebrew or he's Israelite or Jewish, I don't know. But he had his other concept. The concept he had that was taking the Africans in Africa aside. All right, he claimed that the Africans are different. They are different people. It is them, the Black Americans, not the African Americans. I don't know how he categorized it because I had a lot of questions and I just said I cannot just ask this guy because no, I can't. And he's a grown-up man. He's in his 50s, he's in his 60s actually, I should say. Maybe even going in 70s. You cannot have finished 70 years on earth and you still think like that. Now that's the problem. You cannot be 70. No. It is just unfair. I'm not cast enough. I mean, what is the problem? I'm sorry. It is okay for you to laugh, whatever it is, but you cannot mix these things. So it is we, the Black Americans, we were in Egypt. We had a lot. Don't you see this language is like ours? I said, which language do Black Americans have? Right? Which language I wanted to know. You cannot have 70 years on earth and you still think like that. Then I was asking myself, how were you thinking before you made that? Maybe because they say when people keep on growing old, they go back. It's like a reverse.
kyagambye omukazi emisenyu nga nzijambu osuka ono ogenda kutakukira abasuka egy'emyaka.
It is true. It is not that I was hurt with what he said, but I saw a lot of confusion. And there are a lot of people who are following this. A lot of people were believing in him. I'll try and look for this. And then he was trying to show all the books. This is the language. This is talking about us, the Black Americans.
Always have a lot of energy when
they get a bit of whatever is written in an entire article and they concentrate on that. And they start confusing people. And this is the same thing pastors do in church. I usually see that matrix.
They don't read the whole.
They don't read. They just scripture 2, chapter 2, verse 1. They will read that. Stop there. Don't even finish the entire thing because it may change the game.
And they have to explain it goes to another chapter.
So whatever. So that dude had a very huge screen that was reflecting to the main screen that was, of course, showing. And he was trying to show and he was trying to read in that language. that was written in the ancient language of the Egyptians, and he was translating it in the way that he felt that. And he said, for us, people are talking about us being the black Americans, but we existed in Egypt. You see the stories you talk about African colonization. Now we looked at the Moors, of course, going to Europe, and our Google is telling us they were European of African descent, and a very typical black men, not even having any brown color in them. And this dude was like, the Americans were there. So the Americans, because he ended up saying that because there was a sentence that was mentioning black. So we are the black American. But who named you that before even you start? Because there is why people named them that. Because of their skin color and being in those other people who aren't of that skin color. But he concentrated on that. Now, I looked at that dude, I was